here we are at camp again. I showed you the video of the e-bike and the capabilities there. I kind of wanted to go through a few of the things that I've put together to make camp a little bit nicer. This hunt was going to be, gosh, up to 14 days long that I was going to be camped here. So I wanted to make it comfortable. So I wanted to talk to you a little bit about the electronics, because for me, I've got to have my electronics. I've got to charge my phone, I've got to charge my iPad, I've got to charge my laptop. But besides that, there's some things that I put together for this hunt that I really like. One thing is a freezer. So I have a little freezer in here. I'm able to freeze my meat from my kill, also keep things frozen, keep water bottles frozen to put in the coolers. And then I've also built my own battery bank. It's back there in the trailer, it's crazy heavy. When we get home, I'm gonna take that apart and show you how I built it so you can build one for yourself. Super cheap and it works super awesome. Besides that, other little batteries, I've got these little Goal Zero ones here. And these are ones I carry in the tent. So these I can charge whatever I want. I can run all the little lights in the tent. These are all Goal Zero stuff. So this is a Yeti 400. This is a lithium ion, really like that. So you got USBs, you got a 12 volt, and you got an inverter. This is a Yeti 400 as well. This is just an older model. This is a lead acid battery inside. And then the little baby Yeti. This one's really cool because it's got your USBs. You also have a little inverter, but it's also got a wireless charger. So you can just set your phone on top and charge it. One thing that I did for this camp that I was really excited about was thanks to old Elon Musk. You say what you want about him, good, bad, whatever. Take politics aside, take all that nonsense out of it. He builds some amazing stuff. So this is the Starlink. So I have Starlink at camp. I have high-speed internet. So I actually have the panel set up right here. Goes through a process of finding the satellites and alignment and stuff like that. And then bam, we've got high-speed internet. That has been super cool. Now to run all of this, I'm going to show you what I've got as far as power panels. So these are Goal Zero panels. These are 4 of the Boulder 30 panels. So each one is 30 watts, and then you just clip them together. And my little Sammy dog wants to be a part of this. So if I show you the back, basically you can see the clips, how they clip together. And then they're just daisy chained together. You can put up to 4 panels together of these Boulder 30s. This is the panel that charges all of those little Goal Zero battery banks that I just showed you. So each one of these is a 30-watt panel. So 4 of them together, possibly, I guess, 120 watts. I'm not seeing that, but I'm not getting the most perfect sunlight when the sun's on this. But I'm seeing anywhere from 68, maybe 75 watts. So pretty good. Now my big battery bank. So this cable, yeah, I got a mess of cables everywhere. The Starlink and extension cords. It's ridiculous. But this cable right here comes over to the panels that I put together myself. So these are just 100 watt panels. I have 2 of them. And then they just wire together. Super easy. All these little pigtails, all these little things are available. Already pre-made. I did make up my own cables. And basically you just get the ends, crimp the ends on, and you're good to go. It's super simple. So this cable, this comes over to another set of panels. So with this bank, I'm getting up to about 400 watts of power. And that is running, that's plenty for running everything. I was charging e-bike batteries, keeping the freezer going, the internet on. It was great. There was a day before yesterday where it rained quite a bit, so I didn't have very good sun at all. And I ended up shutting the internet down for a little while, just to conserve battery and keep the freezer going. But yeah, worked pretty good. One more convenient thing I wanted to show you. This is a Goal Zero, basically a floodlight. So you can see, this is so cool. So it has its own little onboard battery, but it also plugs in. It's got 4 different brightness settings, push and hold. You can see the brightness there. It doesn't look very bright because it's day, but it's very bright at night. It literally lit up my entire camp. Last thing I wanted to show you here at camp before we go take that battery apart, but we'll do that at home, is my shower. You gotta have a shower, right? So once again, Goal Zero runs a little water pump, which goes into the water heater, propane fed, and we have our shower. Anyway, pretty easy stuff, easy to make, easy to do yourself. And I'm going to show you how to build that battery bank. Saved a lot of money by doing that myself, and I'll show you that when we get home. Okay, we're here off the hunt. I'm just going through cleaning stuff up, putting stuff away, and I wanted to go through this solar stuff in a little bit more detail for you. So these are those panels you saw I had sitting out there. These are some of the cables. Most of them are pre-made cables. I just got them right off of Amazon. They already have the ends and everything on them. They're all waterproof. Pretty awesome. I've got some little Y splitters and then also some 4, basically like a 4 into 1. So I can hook those to multiple panels, stuff like that. The cables, I ended up just making my own. They're just a 10 gauge wire. You can see the end of this one. It's just a super well insulated wire, outdoor rated and rated for solar. I have 3 different, I believe they're 25-foot lengths, and I just put my own ends on. They were so much cheaper to do it that way. The rigid boxes I have, these are just from Home Depot. This is the medium-sized box. This is the one I throw all these cables in, accessories, my inverters, stuff like that. And the cool thing about the rigid boxes is they all nest on top of each other. So this just mounts to the top of that. The whole thing rolls away. Now the big one is the big heavy one. So this is the big rigid box with the wheels, and it needs it because this one's really heavy. This is the one that has the batteries down inside of it. Basically, to show you up close, we've got our charge controller. This is where the power goes down into the box that powers the batteries. That's kind of that main power in. This is the pigtail that goes to our power panels. And then we've got our terminals, just positive, negative 12 volts. This is that little power distribution block, I guess you'd call it. It's got a little on-off switch, a 12-volt power supply. This is what us old-timers remember as a cigarette lighter. Of course, we don't do that anymore, right? And then it's got a USB. So it's got USB and a USB-C. It also gives you a readout of how many volts are in the system. Turn it on and off. Now, this particular one, I protected with a little 30-amp fuse, just in case we were pulling a little too much off that 12-volt power supply. This is the main power on-off that turns the whole system on and off. Now underneath this is where everything happens, I guess. So these are our 6-volt golf cart batteries. They're wired in series, so then we become 12 volts. I like this because they're a deep cycle battery. They hold a lot of power and you're able to do a lot with it. And then the power just comes up to all of our components. Now, real quick, down and dirty little schematic. I just kind of sketched this out. Now, there is a disclaimer with this. You do this on your own volition. I am not going to take any responsibility if you hurt yourself, burn your house down, whatever. Can't imagine that would happen, but you take responsibility for this. So basically what we've got is our two 6-volt batteries. They're wired in series, so that becomes 12 volts. Our negative comes over to our negative terminal, and our positive goes over to our power supply, and then that goes to our positive terminal. So basically these become the hub for everything. Turn this on, that becomes hot. See how that works? So now that these terminals are our main power for everything. So everything can run off of these terminals. So I take my power, say, to my little distribution block. So my power comes and I run it through that 30-amp fuse. I forgot to add that in there. So the power goes through the 30-amp fuse and then into the positive side of that power terminal. The negative just goes to my negative terminal. Same thing with my solar charge controller. So this guy right here. I've got power coming from the panels to the positive and negative. That's right there. You can see my power panels. And then this goes to my battery, my main battery. So that's just gonna come out, right here. So my negative to my negative terminal, my positive to my positive terminal. That's what gives 12 volts to the system to charge those batteries. And it's got another little setting like for a light if we want to plug it in, but I don't need to worry about that. Same thing with the little USBs. We can plug the USB and charge it right directly off the solar, but I kind of like having this. The only thing I was thinking about adding, I would love to add a couple of outlets and just have an onboard inverter. I do have a little space here in the box. I've just got to find the right inverter. So for right now, these little Black & Decker ones just clip on and they work great. But anyway, that's pretty much it. I loved building this. If you have any questions, let me know. Just to tell you real quick, the capacity is amazing. So I've got one of the big Yeti roll around, and it's only got one battery in it, one 12 volt deep cycle battery. So this is like twice the capacity at probably less than half the price. I will put together a link with all these different parts. If you have any questions at all, man, shoot me a message. I love hearing from people. This worked great. I wanted to test it at camp, and I'll tell you what, it worked great. It did not disappoint. Anyway, as with all my videos, thanks for watching. I am going to try to share more and more kind of my adventures and different things I'd like to do. Anyway, I love the comments. I love the feedback. Stay safe out there. Happy trails.